Hello. In this session, we're going to be looking at the proposed memorandum for the mathematics paper 1, grade 7, for one of the districts that wrote already, okay? So for those learners that are yet to write, please just use it as a revision guide, strictly aimed at just equipping learners for revision purposes and preparation before they write, okay? Many of you have been asking for more of these papers, and it's fine. I'll keep on just giving you more and more. Okay, so this paper was out of 50 marks, okay? So let's see what we have to do. So different options are given for each question. Circle the letter of the correct answer. They're asking for the prime factors of 36. Now we know that factors are numbers that will divide another number without a remainder. So the question is, which numbers can divide 36? Okay, so the first factor is always a 1. Then we have 2, 2 can go into 36. We also have 3, 3 can divide 36. And then we have 4 and 5, nope. We have 6, 7 is a no, 8 is a no. Then we have 9, and then after 9, we're going to have 12. After 12, we're going to have 18. And lastly, at 36. Alternatively, someone can also look at which numbers do I multiply to get a 36. So it's basically 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times a 12, 4 times a 9, and then 6 times 6. So all these are what we are calling the factors as we have written them there. So now from these numbers, which ones are the prime numbers? So the only prime numbers we have, it's basically 2 and 3. Okay, the rest are not prime numbers. Remember, prime numbers have only 2 factors, 1 and itself. So option C is the best in this case, okay? Then 1.2, 10 million, 15,836, okay, in digits. 10 million, okay, so we can just do the addition and see, okay? So 10 million, we have 10 and 6 zeros, and then we have 15,000. So 15,000 is going to be somewhere there, plus the 800, and then we have the 36, and then you do the addition. So it's a 6, it's a 3, that's 8, that's a 5, that's a 1, and then 2 zeros, then a 1. So 10,015,836. So do we have an answer like this? So 100,15836. Option D is the best. And then 1.3, using the commutative addition, complete the sum. So commutative simply means that the order does not matter, regardless of what you start with. And this commutative works for addition and multiplication. In other words, the number that you start with when carrying out the multiplication or addition does not matter. So 26 plus 52 is the same as 52 plus 26. So option A is the answer. And then which fraction is equivalent to this 3/4? So equivalent fractions are basically fractions that have the same value. Okay, they increase just in the same ratio or decrease in the same ratio. So 6/8. Okay, so if we multiply this by 2 and by 2, that's going to be 6/8. So which means the first option is correct. Then write 34/100 as a decimal. So what we know is that every number is a decimal. Okay, every number is a decimal. That's why we call it a decimal system. Okay, so the comma will be at the end if you don't see it at all. When we cross this 0, the comma will move 1 step to the left. Cross this 0, the comma moves to the left again. So meaning that the comma is before 3. So 0.34 is our decimal. Okay, which is option C. Then 10/3 simplified. Okay, so 10 over 30 simplified. I mean, there's a 10, there's a 10. We can divide through by 10, divide through by 10. 10 divided by 10 is a 1. How many 10s are in 30? There are 3. So 1/3 is the best answer there. And then 1.7, 8 to the 5 in expanded form. It's going to be 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. 5 times, ne? So meaning it's option B. And then what's the square root of 64? Which number do we multiply by itself to give us 64? That's going to be 8. Then 1.9, what's the missing term of this numeric pattern? Okay, so from 1 you have 12, meaning that you're adding 11. And then you add 11, which means 23 plus 11 is going to give us a 34. So 34 is option A. And then an integer that is neither positive nor negative on a number line, that has to be a 0. Okay, 0 is an integer, but it does not take on any sign because it doesn't want to be biased. So 0 is the best answer there. All right, so those are the 10 marks for the first question. Then question 2, calculate the following, but using any method. So the best method that we normally use is the column method, okay? So it's going to be 784, 566, 371. Now, what is important with this method is that you need to be very, very careful when you're arranging your numbers so that they are aligned according to their placed values. Okay, then let's subtract. So we cannot subtract 8 from a 1, so we need to borrow. Okay, that's going to be a 6. 11 minus 8 is a 3. 6 minus 2 is a 4. And then we need to borrow to make this a 13. So 5, 13 minus 7, that's going to be a 6. 5 again, we have to borrow. So 15 minus 8 is a 7. 5 minus 2 is a 3. 5 minus 5 is a 0. 4 minus 1 is a 3, 8 minus that is a 5, 7 minus 2 is a 5. So this becomes our answer. All right, then 2.2, since we have 3 numbers, we have to do 2 at a time. So let's start with the addition, then we do the subtraction. So 421, 520. This is 289, 452. So when we add that from our right-hand side, that's going to be a 2. That's a 7. That's a 9. 9 and 1 is a 10. Write the 0, carry the 1. 8 and 2 is 10 plus 1, 11. 1, you carry the 1. 4, 2, and 1, that becomes a 7. And then we rewrite the 3, 5, 3, 7, 4. So it's a 4, 7, 3, 5, 3. Then we subtract just in that order. Okay. Then we cannot subtract 4 from 2, so we're going to borrow. That's a 6. This becomes a 12. 12 minus 4 is 8. Same story, 8, that's going to be 16. What is 16 minus 7? My mind tells me it's a 9. Okay, I don't know what the rest thinks. So that's a 9, correct? And then 8 minus 3 is going to be a 5. We need to borrow again. That's a 0. That's a 10, which is a 5. Borrow. That's a 10, it's a 7, and a 6. So this becomes our final answer. Probably you're going to get the first mark for the addition and then the last mark for the subtraction. All right, 2.3. If Tokozo wants to save 157,500 over 21 months, how much must he save per month? So it's as good as getting 157,500, and then we divide it by 21 months. So in this case, you can use the short division, or even rather you can go with a long division. It's up to you how you want to work this out. Remember, did we have instructions in this paper? There were no instructions. But it's fine, we move on because at least you're supposed to use some bit of a small calculator. Nevertheless, whether you're using the long division or the short division, it is imperative that you at least have one. So 7.5 becomes our answer. So Ntokozo must save 7.5 per month, okay, for a period of 21 months. Then he will have that money. All right, question number 3, we have the common fractions, okay? So all of these are mixed fractions. It's up to you how you want to work this out. You can start by dealing with the whole numbers since we are adding and subtracting. So if I get 3 plus 1 minus 2, we know that 3 plus 1 is a 4. 4 minus 2 is going to be a 2. Then let's look at the other fraction, 7 over 8, 1 over 4 minus 1 over 2. So step number 1, let's create the same denominator. So if this is 8, we know that 4 can become 8 if we multiply by 2 and then by 2. 2 can become 8 if we multiply by 4 and by 4. So that becomes 7 over 8 plus 2 over 8 minus 4 over 8. Then we can do everything at once on the top. So 7 plus 2 minus 4. 7 plus 2 minus 4. We know that 7 plus 2 is a 9. 9 minus 4 becomes 5 over 8. Now our final answer will be this whole number, which is 2, and then 5 over 8. And then that becomes the answer. All right, 3.2. Paul Lerato working shifts at a local restaurant for a total of 9 hours. From Paul works a third of the time. How many hours does she work at the restaurant? So this is the same as 1 over 3 of the time, which is 9 hours. And we know that the word of represents multiplication. Okay, 9 over 1. When you're multiplying fractions, numerators alone, and then denominators also alone. So that's going to be 9 divided by 3. How many 3s are in 9? There are only 3 hours. So Toko Lerato or Mpo works only for 3 hours. Okay, then question 4, which is the decimal fractions. When you're multiplying by 10, 100,000, the comma must move to the right. Okay, so since we have 2 zeros, the comma must move 2 steps to the right. So the answer is a 3, 4, 7. When you're dividing, the comma must move to the left. Okay, since we are dividing by 10, the comma is going to move 1 step to the left. So that's 97,451. And then the addition and the subtraction of decimals, same story, just like we did. But now here, the comma needs to be in the same position. So let's start with the subtraction. So 105,98. This is a 2,3. We can add a 0 just as a placeholder. Subtract. That's going to be 8. 9 minus 3 is a 6. 5 minus 2 is a 3. Then a 0, then a 1. Okay. Then we need to add the 18,176. So we can add a 0 there just for place holding. So 0 and 6 is a 6, 8 and 7, that's a 15. We carry 1. 6 and 1 is a 7 plus 1 is 8. We need to put our comma. 8 and 3 is 11. You carry 1. 1 and 1 is a 2 and the 1. So this becomes our final answer. And then when we are subtracting, it's going to be the same thing. So it's going to be 30,6. This is going to be 1,008. So add zeros here to make them placeholders. Then we're going to borrow. So from 6 is going to be a 5, a 10. We borrow a 9, then becomes a 10 here. Okay. So 10 minus 8 is a 2. 9 minus 0 is a 9. 5 minus 0 is a 5, comma. We need to borrow again. So 10 minus 1 is a 9 and 2. So that becomes our final answer as well. And then when it comes to multiplication, okay, one thing we need to do, the comma can be ignored, and we start by multiplying just the number alone. Then this is going to be 311. Let's start by multiplying, then we get to put the commas. So 1 by 8 is going to be 8. 1 and 9 is a 9. 1 and 1 is a 1. 0. Then 1 and 8 is going to be 8. 1 and 9 is going to be a 9. 1 and 1 is going to be a 1. Then you put 2 zeros. Then 3 and 8 is a 24. You write the 4. We carry the 2. Okay. And then 3 by 9 is a 27 plus 2 is a 29. So 9, you carry the 2. And then 1 times 3 is going to be 3 plus 2 is going to be a 5. And then we plus everything up. So that's going to be 8. 9 and 8 is 17. We carry the 1. That's going to be a 10. and then a 15. You carry the 1, that's going to be 11. You carry the 1, that's going to be 6. So our answer is 61578. But then we have two numbers after the comma here. We have two numbers after the comma, meaning that in total, we have 4 numbers or 4 digits after the comma. So 4 digits going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6,1578 becomes the answer there. Okay. Section B, question number 5, exponents and integers. So what's the cube root of 27? That's a 3. Square root of 81 is a 9. 3 plus 9 is a 12. Then negative 7 plus 12. We have a date of 7 rands. We pay off with the 12 rands. We're going to have an excess of 5. You subtract 1. Then our answer becomes a 1. Then 5.3, prove the commutative property. So when you're proving this, you look at the left-hand side as well as the right-hand side, okay? If signs are next to each other, they need to be reduced as long as they are opposite signs, meaning that a positive and a negative becomes a negative. So it's going to be negative 6 minus 5. This becomes negative 11. When you come to the right-hand side, negative 5, a positive and a negative, we get a negative. We also get a negative 11. So this is true. 5.4, which is the problem solving. You're telling us that in Johannesburg, the temperature was 5 degrees in the morning, and then by midnight, it had dropped. The word dropped is a negative, okay, by 12 degrees. What was the temperature at midnight? So it's going to be 5 minus 12. This becomes a negative 7. And then how much was the difference in the temperature? So when you're looking for the difference in temperature, you get the highest, and then we minus the lowest. So I don't know why they asked this question, because we already seeing the difference here. Okay, so if the highest was 5 minus 7, so this and this becomes 5 plus 7, which is 12. So it dropped by 12 degrees. So I mean, that is already the difference. All right, then question number 6, numeric and geometric patterns. Extend the following number sequences by writing the next two terms. So if we have 8, 14, we are adding by 6 now. By 6, so when you add 6, you're going to get a 32. By 6, you're going to have a 38. And then 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So we are multiplying by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 by 2 is going to be a 32. And then times 2, that's going to be a 64. Then the following sequence is given. They want us to complete the questions that follow. So if our first term is a 4, the next one is a 6, and then a 10, which means we are adding by 2. What is the difference between the consecutive terms? The difference is 2. Okay. And then can we complete the 5th and the 10th? And so with the 5th, we're going to have 10 plus 2, which is a 12. And then for us to get the 10th, we need some bit of a rule, okay? So we are getting 2 multiplied by any number, and then you plus the 2. Does it make sense? Yes. So if we are looking for the 10th term, we're going to get 10 times 2, and then plus 2, which becomes 22. All right. And then question number 7, which is the functions and relationships. Apply the inverse operation for the flow diagram to calculate the input values. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, if our input is 1, we know that 1 plus 3 is a 4, so that's a 4. And then if our output is a 5, what is 5 minus 3? That's going to be a 2. So that 2 plus 3 is a 5. And then 19 minus 3 is going to be 16, because 16 plus 3 gives us 19. And then 6 minus 3, that's going to be a 3. So that is what we have. Then lastly, complete the table by using the equation below. Okay, So 2x plus 3 simply means you have your 2 multiplied by the input value, and then you plus the 3. Mean that's going to be 2 times 6, which is a 12. 12 plus 3, that's a 15. Okay, let me do the 10. 2 times 10 is a 20, plus 3, we get a 23. And then we're going to apply the inverse. What is 21 minus 3? So 21 minus 3 gives us 18. And then we have to divide by 2. We get a 9. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this particular paper. Okay, I wish you guys all the best as you write, and let's meet when we are dealing with paper 2. Bye-bye.